Welcome to this explainer. We're standing at the literal edge of one of the fastest shifting tech landscapes we've ever seen here in the US. When we talk about the 2026 web development roadmap, we aren't just looking at a standard list of coding languages. No, we're looking at an industry that's been fundamentally transformed from the ground up. The old rules of hiring, what companies expect from you, where the US capital is actually flowing, it's a whole new ballgame.
And to give you a sense of just how insanely fast things are moving, consider this. We are seeing an explosive 35% year-over-year jump in full-stack job postings across the entire US market. 35%! Companies aren't just casually putting out feelers anymore. They're scrambling. They're pouring serious budget into roles that can handle end-to-end development. This massive explosion in demand, it's creating a hyper-accelerated window of opportunity, but only for those who know exactly how to position themselves.
Because of that staggering 35% spike, full-stack development officially ranks among the top 10 most sought-after jobs in the country right now, and I mean across the entire United States economy, not just in the tech sector. That's a level of baseline demand that honestly commands serious attention. Practically speaking, it translates to higher starting salaries, way better job security, and just incredible leverage for the developers who actually have the specific skills the market is begging for.
Okay, let's dive right into this. The 2026 web dev landscape, a booming US market.
See, with such rapid market growth, guessing what hiring managers want is basically a fast track to obsolescence. You've got to align your learning roadmap precisely with where the money is flowing. If you don't, you really risk spending months grinding away, learning outdated skills in a hyper-competitive environment. Understanding the exact roles companies are desperate for right now is literally the only way to optimize your career path in 2026.
Moving on to front-end, back-end, and full-stack, demystifying the core roles.
Now, you guys already know the traditional divide, right? Front-end handles the user experience, the visual layout, the buttons, the whole shebang a user interacts with in the browser. While the back-end, well, that powers the hidden engine room, the servers, the databases, the APIs. Traditionally, you picked one of these two lanes, basically siloing your expertise. But then we have the full-stack developer. The ultimate hybrid. These folks bridge both of these worlds seamlessly. They're the complete end-to-end package that can design the slick visual interface and actually construct the complex server architecture to support it. They completely eliminate the silo.
And if we look at startups, startups operate on extreme agility, super strict US dollar budgets, and a desperate need for speed to market. For them, full-stack developers are the perfect cross-functional solution. Think about it. One hire replaces two. That allows for the kind of rapid iteration that literally keeps a new company alive. Startups just don't have the luxury of bloated teams. They need builders who can jump in and touch absolutely every part of the code base. So it really boils down to cost effectiveness and adaptability, because a full-stack dev understands the entire architecture from the database all the way to the browser. They adapt incredibly quickly to whatever the project needs on any given day. In this fast-paced 2026 startup ecosystem, hiring a full-stack developer isn't just a preference. It is a strict financial necessity to stretch their funding further.
But what happens to beginners now? I mean, really think about it. If the entire US market only wants these highly efficient end-to-end full-stack rock stars who can do the job of two people, what exactly happens to the beginner who's just trying to get their foot in the door? Which brings us to the 2026 AI disruption, the new rules of entry. Here's the harsh reality. AI is rapidly absorbing beginner-level coding tasks. The basic boilerplate code, those minor bug fixes that used to be the classic training ground for a junior developer, those are now handled by AI tools in literal seconds. Because AI can do this basic grunt work so efficiently, standard entry-level roles have shrunk drastically. The beginner bottleneck is fiercer than it's ever been. That old entry-level safety net, it's just gone. And this brilliantly illustrates how the paradigm has completely shifted. The old way of entering the industry, just writing basic beginner code, is dead. The 2026 way is entirely about integrating large language models and AI APIs to solve complex problems. You aren't just writing code anymore, you're building applications that leverage AI. Those obsolete beginner expectations have been completely replaced by this new, mandatory skill. So here is the exact formula you need to stay relevant and employable today. Step 1, grasp the full stack basics. You simply cannot integrate advanced AI if you don't first understand how the front end and back end talk to each other. Step 2, learn AI and LLM integration. This is your ultimate multiplier. And step 3, combine that foundational knowledge with your new AI integration skills to actually stand out in the 2026 market. That is exactly how you beat the AI disruption and make it work for you. All right, what comes next? Preparing for part 2. In part 2 of this explainer, we're covering the exact tech stack to learn, the exact order to learn it in, and which one actually gets you hired at the fastest. But until then, I want you to really ask yourself, are you building the skills to command the 2026 market, or are you preparing for a job that AI has already taken? Welcome back, Focus Learners. We are jumping right into the next phase of our journey. In our last explainer, we laid out the 2026 landscape and exactly what you're up against. Today, we're picking up right where we left off. We're building your highly competitive U.S. job market roadmap. We're going to talk about the exact sequence of technologies you need to learn to get hired right now. Let's get into it. Okay, so a quick callback to our last session. Because artificial intelligence is shifting the tech landscape so dramatically, understanding the actual raw building blocks of code, it's more crucial than ever. Look, AI can totally generate code for you, but if you don't understand the foundation that code is built on, you literally can't be the architect. Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with a recap on the AI shift, lock in our core language fundamentals, build out the modern tech stack, identify those high-impact skills for 2026, and finally, get you prepped for the job hunt. All right, step 1, fundamentals first. We're talking core languages. So mastering HTML, CSS, and vanilla JavaScript before you jump into frameworks is essentially your permanent insurance policy. Think about it. If an AI assistant hands you a totally broken React component, you are dead in the water if you don't understand the underlying JavaScript to actually debug it. You absolutely have to master the foundation first. Moving right along to section 2, building the modern tech stack, layer by layer. Let's build this modern stack out sequentially. First, you've got your HTML, CSS, and JS, defining the structure and style, right? Then, React or Next.js steps in to handle complex interactive states. After that, Node.js powers the server logic behind the scenes, and it talks to Postgres or MongoDB for robust data persistence. And finally, Git wraps around the whole shebang to keep your codebase secure and versioned. Let's break those down a bit. React or Next.js are your absolute industry standard front ends. Look, in 2026, US employers do not want static digital brochures. No way. They expect lightning-fast, component-based user interfaces. This is exactly where your code transforms into a truly interactive application. And to power that shiny new front end, we use Node.js. The massive advantage here for learners is pure efficiency. You don't have to kill your momentum to learn a completely new backend syntax like Python or Java. Instead, you can write really powerful server logic using the exact same JavaScript you literally just mastered. It's a real game changer. Now, every application needs a memory, which means choosing a database. You've got highly structured relational databases like Postgres, which are perfect for predictable tables, or flexible document-based systems like MongoDB. Honestly, you don't need to learn both on day one, but mastering at least one of them, totally non-negotiable. And to lock all of this in, you absolutely have to master Git. It's the essential version control system for tracking changes and collaborating with a team. You can kind of think of it as a limitless undo button for your entire project. Because, trust me on this, you will eventually break something in production. We all do. So that brings up a really tough question. Is the standard stack actually enough for 2026? I mean, stop and really think about this for a second. If every single bootcamp graduate in the country learns this exact same stack, how on earth do you stand out? If your resume is just a carbon copy of 1,000 others, you're going to get lost in the noise. You need an edge. Which leads us perfectly into section 3, high-impact skills for 2026. This is your competitive edge. To guarantee your resume actually goes to the top of the pile, you need 3 major differentiators right now: AI and LLM integration, cloud platform basics, and the Go programming language. Let's look at each of these. First up, AI and LLM integration. To be super clear here, you do not need a PhD in mathematics to build a custom model from scratch, but you absolutely must know how to utilize APIs to weave existing tools, like OpenAI, directly into your applications to build smart, automated features. It's just expected now. Secondly, mastering the basics of cloud platforms, we're talking AWS, Microsoft Azure, or Google Cloud Platform, is practically a requirement these days. Modern tech companies do not host their applications on local hardware sitting in some dusty back room anymore.
The whole thing lives in the cloud. If you can confidently take an app from your local laptop and deploy it seamlessly to AWS where it can scale to thousands of users, your market value goes up instantly.
Finally, learning Go, often called Golang, is a massive differentiator. While JavaScript and Node.js are incredibly popular for sure, Go is rapidly emerging as a top skill specifically for high-performance, scalable backend engineering. Having Go on your resume acts as a giant signal to hiring managers. It essentially tells them you aren't just following the standard beginner path, you're looking ahead to exactly where enterprise-level engineering is moving.
All right, the final section, preparing for the job hunt in 2026.
You now have the exact blueprint of what to learn. But here is the real question. Are you ready to prove you can actually build with it? Because having the tech stack is only half the battle. The other half is proving it to employers. In part 3 of this Explainer series, we are covering the realistic timeline and the exact kind of portfolio projects that actually get you hired. So, are you ready to take this tech stack and build something real? Stay focused, and I'll see you in the next one.